What's going on, YouTube? Ferocity here. I hope you guys are doing well. We've had many extensive conversations on this channel regarding skill-based matchmaking. And normally when we do talk about skill-based matchmaking, it pertains to a game like Call of Duty or just the multiplayer experience in general. Never have we explored the possibility of skill-based matchmaking rearing its ugly head in single-player games. Well, there's been a bit of an outcry recently surrounding a brand new Sony patent that aims to change the game difficulty in real time as you play. Essentially, skill-based matchmaking for single-player games. Now, before you guys all pile on, I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. And I'll explain in a little bit. First, though, let's dive into this article from Insider Gaming. The title, as we previously said, Sony Patent aims to change game difficulty in real time as you play. Underneath that, Sony recently published a patent that describes an innovative technology that would amend the game difficulty in real time, adapting to the player's abilities on the fly. It's not a concept that's completely unheard of in gaming, but Sony's patent speaks of enhancing it or making it more elegant of what already exists. So, to summarize that little tidbit of information, there's already adaptive difficulty calibrations that are in games right now. That already exists. And I've actually seen it for myself. I think it's in MLB The Show where I saw it for the first time and I was like, well, this is interesting. This isn't in any EA game, but it's here in the MLB The Show, which I did kind of like. To continue, tailored to you. It's the adaptive difficulty calibration for skills-based activities in virtual environments. And it uses graceful algorithms to assess how a user is playing and dealing with certain mechanics, elements, and circumstances. It will then adjust the difficulty by making those elements harder or easier to handle to encourage the player to stay engaged for longer, avoiding frustration or feeling that a game is just too easy. So, let's break down this part of the article. When it comes to single player games, there's nothing more frustrating than being overwhelmed. Although there is also that sense of satisfaction when you do overcome something extremely difficult. So I don't really know how to feel. On one hand, I do like the fact that they are trying to aim at making it more of a balanced experience for you. Because not always are those difficulty settings completely fair. But also, are you going to change the experience so much so that you lose some of that authenticity that you normally go for with a single player game? Because yes, there are going to be sections that are more difficult than others. And should you make those difficult sections easier just so that the player engages with them more? I don't really know. There were certain parts of Jedi Fallen Order that I found were so difficult, but they were so rewarding when I got through them. And if they were to be made easier because of some adaptive setting, I don't know if I would have had that same sense of accomplishment and would have continued to move through it. I may have just put the game away and said, you know what, this game wants me to beat it, instead of it feeling earned when you do beat it. Anyways, continuing with the article, it says, instead of picking a traditional difficulty setting, the algorithms detailed in the patent would be dynamic, offering every player a tailored experience that's best suited for them. It would make it almost impossible for an outsider to gauge how difficult a game is before they buy it, as it would ultimately be different for everyone. Now, while I'm not sure how to feel about that, it's also interesting to think that it could be a different experience for every single player. Now, my main concern with all of this, with this being a potential in new single-player experiences, is will traditional difficulty settings be available? Because I'll be honest with you, if the only thing that's available for players to utilize and to select is this adaptive difficulty setting, it ain't it, Chief. Forcing players to utilize an algorithm to determine their gameplay experience is a little disappointing. And yeah, I get it. A hard difficulty setting is still an algorithm. But I mean an adaptive algorithm. One that's learning how you play to make the experience more tailored to you. What if I just want to beat the game on the hardest difficulty to get that experience? Or what if I want to play with my nephew and have a really easy time and just bond with him? I think giving players more options and more opportunity to have different experiences is what they should aim for with a patent like this, with this type of technology. Instead of restricting the experience that each player has, you should be able to offer them a wealth of different experiences. Now, to finish off this article, Sony's patent documentation references a string of parameters that would be impacted by this technology, including character strength, enemy spawn rates, enemy skill, and movement speed. Again, it's not unheard of, and it could be aligned quite closely with skill-based matchmaking or engagement optimized matchmaking, stuff that we've heard of in multiplayer. So, the way I look at this is it could be great technology to make the experience extremely tailored to the player. And I don't necessarily hate that, but I also think giving players more options to have an experience that they want is also important. So there's two sides to this coin. There's the one side that says it's great technology and I think it should be in almost every video game, but the other side also says that traditionally, allowing players to have that choice to make the game easy or hard should be solely up to them. And one of the strides we've made over time is the fact that you can change this difficulty in real time. There used to be a time in video games where you couldn't change the difficulty, and some games just didn't have a difficulty. Heck, I went back and played some of the original Super Mario Brothers games. I didn't realize how hard those games got towards the end of them. But was it ever rewarding when you do beat them? And that's the only thing that I'm concerned that we might rob from players by having this adaptive difficulty system, is that you might rob them of that satisfaction, them earning their victory. And that's part of the issue with skill-based matchmaking in EOMM in general, is the fact that we're trying to optimize the situations for the player to keep them engaged instead of rewarding players with that shot of serotonin and dopamine when they actually accomplish something that's difficult. Players should be allowed more opportunities, more options, instead of restricting them down a certain path. And again, I'm not saying that's necessarily what's happening with this patent, but I am fearful that they might go down the road of restricting this to what they want, which is to utilize this algorithm. Because why else would you try to patent it? Why else would you invest loads of money into a new algorithm unless you wanted every game to take full advantage of it? Just some food for thought. Anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this down below in that comment section. Let me know if this is a step too far or you think it's some good technology. Would love to hear what you think in that comment section. And as always, guys, I thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.